Sylvia Johnson. I'm sitting in for Hakia Me, the Success Scholar, this evening. Welcome to eLife Media. And this evening I'm going to be talking about the importance of women in business and women stepping out on faith. Stepping out on faith and starting your own business and the importance of that. And that was really solidified for me this weekend. My team had an opportunity to travel down to Orlando, Florida. We were actually exhibitors and presenters at the SOCRA conference. SOCRA is the Society of Clinical Research Associates. And it's a well-attended conference. The organization has about, I would say maybe 12,000 members, and about 2,500 people actually attended this conference. And so we were so very excited about doing this. We've actually been preparing for this conference for probably 2 months now. And, you know, it was just a lot. And so when I had an opportunity to actually sit still and reflect on all the work and all the activities that went on over the weekend at this conference and even before the conference, and, you know, the energies that we had to put into this, it was amazing. So let me just backtrack about this conference. I'm going to talk about the importance of women in business also, and we have a guest that's calling in this evening as well. So, you know, the first time I went to this conference, I was living in Rochester, New York, and I was actually working for a company there. And this conference was scheduled in Montreal, Canada. And so I looked at the conference and I was so excited about it. And I had an opportunity to go to this conference. I think I was probably an associate director at the time. And my boss said, well, you know, if you go to this conference, you know, you only have a couple of days. And so I said, okay, I'm going to drive. So I actually drove to Montreal to the conference, and it was absolutely phenomenal. And from that point on, I said, you know, one day I want to make it my business to attend this conference. And not just attend the conference, I actually want to be one of the professional exhibitors and perhaps a speaker at this conference. So fast forward to 2017. Now this occurred in probably 2006 maybe? 2004, I say 2004, I think. And so coming to this conference meant a lot to me. And as I started preparing for it, and I started discussing the conference with, you know, individuals who have attended all kinds of international conferences, because this is an international conference. It's people from all over the world come to this particular conference. And so we decided that we would be an exhibitor, and we had to actually apply. It's not one of those situations where you just sign up and they take your money and you attend. We actually had to apply. I had to talk about, you know, my company and the services that we provide, years in business, and, you know, give them a background for them to make a decision whether or not, you know, we would be able to participate in the conference. And we were selected. And at that point, it got real. It became real for me. You know, no longer was I just talking about the idea of doing it. It actually was coming to fruition. And so at that point, you know, I started talking to other women in business, and I was talking to some of my teaming partners, and one in particular. One of the teaming partners that we have is the BIF Consulting Group, BIF Group. And they're out of Baltimore, Maryland. That's Mr. Robert Wallace's company. And so as I was preparing for this conference, I was actually meeting with them on something else. And I started talking about this conference and that I was so excited about it. But I was nervous because I didn't feel like my company had the presence that it needed, you know, marketing and things like that. So my contact there said to me, you know, let's revisit all your marketing material. Let's revamp everything. And I was like, we don't have that kind of time to start all over. And he said, yeah. He said, because you don't want to show up looking ordinary. You want to stand out. And so we did. We revamped everything. Our brochures, our capability statements, business cards, banners, everything from bottom to top, we redid. And he even suggested that I author a white paper on the laboratories. And this was something that I had toyed around with for a while, but he said, you really need to author this paper so that people not only see you at this conference, but they also get an idea of what your capabilities are. And so I authored this white paper, and we actually provided that during the conference as well. So, it was just amazing. First of all, the reception that we received. I didn't go down in the morning of the conference. It was like a pre-conference kickoff. Two of the members of my team, and I have a wonderful team around me, Maxine McCullough and Emily Page, absolutely phenomenal. These ladies were on the road at 4 o'clock in the morning to get on a 6 o'clock a.m. flight to get down to Florida to start getting things ready. I didn't get there until that evening. I got there, I think it was probably 7:30 by the time I got to the hotel. But they had already been there. They had started setting everything up. They were actually talking to people, and people were very excited about, us even attending the conference, us being there. Black, woman-owned company in the biotech arena. You don't see that very often. And the reason that, it actually stood out is because, as I mentioned, it's an arena that is male-dominated, but you don't see too many people who look like us. And, we were well received. And it was, during times where people were coming by and talking to us, and I actually lost my voice at this conference. I actually lost my voice. And people were still waiting. And we were the most well-received exhibitors at that conference. Even the folks who sit on the board for this organization, they came by to talk to us and, compliment us and tell us, people have been saying, how phenomenal we were in our presence. And, for me, it was validation. Sometimes you say, I don't feel like I need to have anybody validate me. But it was validation that all that hard work, for the years that I put in really means something. And, I hear people use the statement, fake it till you make it. I say make it, and you don't have to fake it. When you really know what you're doing, and when you have a capability and a service that you can provide, and people see value in that, you don't have to pretend, because you know what you're doing. And for me, being in this industry, I know what I'm doing. And so, as a woman-owned business, it's hard enough. But you have to surround yourself with positive people, with people who support your vision and your dreams. Some people will try to marginalize you. Some people will, use terms that are negative about your experience, about your capabilities. They'll call you somewhat successful. They'll call you, whatever other derogatory terms people use when they really don't have an appreciation for you and for what you do. But one of the things that I wanted to do tonight, I wanted to make this show really a dedication to woman-owned businesses and women who have stepped out to do things a little different. And, there's so many women that I can identify, but I just brought a couple of books with me this evening because these ladies have actually put pen to paper and they've told their story. And on the plane, I was actually reading Lisa Nichols' book. And her story, I haven't finished, but I'm still reading the book. But her story is just, it's compelling. Where she started and where she is now. See, people look at the finished product. They don't necessarily know what it took to get there. people always want to think, when you make it to a certain level in your career that you just happened upon it. But they don't realize the sacrifice and the struggle and the tears and the sleepless nights that go into it. And so I just wanted to, acknowledge these ladies, Lisa Nichols, Hattie Washington. I think I have Nikki Woods up there with Shift and her other book, Shift On. And then, of course, my book, co-authored 31 amazing women CEOs who have told their stories, talked about the challenges of business. This was the brainchild of Melanie Bonita, who is one of my business coaches and someone that I truly respect. And then as a woman-owned business, you have to be out there. Don't be afraid to get out there. Go to these meetings. Take your team. If you don't have a team, take yourself and partner. The other thing that, women, sometimes we fall short because we don't want to partner. We think someone wants to steal our ideas. We think, we don't trust. And it's debilitating when you're in business. You have to be willing to step out there and combine resources with other people. I have many, many teaming partners. As I mentioned, the Bith Group out of Baltimore, totally helped me revamp all of my marketing material. And I've already posted, on Facebook, some of the videos that we received during the conference, and you'll be able to see that information also on my LinkedIn for myself and for my company. And it will eventually make its way onto my company website as well. But it's just amazing. It's just amazing. So step out there. If you're thinking about business, if you're already in business, team. You can't do this by yourself. You truly can't do it by yourself. And it's just amazing. But I'm going to have a guest that's going to call in shortly. Delphine Kelly. Delphine is the CEO and president of Young Scholars Christian Academy in the Landover area, and she started her school, the first school, in 2005. And let me tell you why I have so much respect for her. First of all, she's one of my sorority sisters, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. But that's not the only reason. The reason is because that's a difficult area, education. There are a lot of people who are in childcare, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're talking about taking on the responsibility for educating children, then you are someone who has a strong vision. You're someone that is willing to make sacrifices, because we know in education, for the most part, that's a thankless job. But when you have someone that's dedicating their life to that, they're telling you that this is something that is critical to our children. And so Delphine will be joining me probably around 8:30 in the next 5 minutes. But I just wanted to, again, thank my team for all of their support and for all of their help. Thank you, Haki, for your support. And it's just phenomenal. And I'm thankful for everything that we were able to accomplish. And I think I had two highlights while I was there. One young lady came up. She had been following the company for a couple of years, I guess. And when she found out I was there, she came looking for me on the first day, but I wasn't there. I didn't get there until the first full day, which was on that Friday. And so she came back and she stood in line. She waited to speak with me. And she said, I came to see, Miss Sylvia. And she said, Miss Sylvia, you are the Oprah of the biotech community. And I just thought that was phenomenal, because I try to inspire, especially women in business and especially women in the scientific arena, because we don't get the accolades that we deserve. And it's mainly because a lot of people don't understand it. They don't understand the dynamics of science and research and development. And when you don't understand something, then it's easy to dismiss it. But being surrounded by like-minded people in an area that I feel most comfortable, and hearing her say that was, once again, justification as to why I do what I do. And the other was a gentleman, an older gentleman, who came up, and we actually had like a raffle type thing, not like tickets and stuff like that, but we had a raffle. People came, they talked to us. We actually had something to collect their business cards, and this gentleman came up, and he talked to me for a bit, and I said, well, make sure you leave your business card. And he said, well, what am I leaving the business card for? And then we explained the whole purpose of that part. And he said, well, I never win anything. He said, I've never won anything. And I said, well, this could be the one time that you do win something. You never know. And he said, well, you could have, one card in that dish, and you could, and I still wouldn't win. And I just thought that was funny. And I said to him, I said, you know what? You need to speak life and believe and have faith. And even if you've never won anything before, always continue to try. And he actually won, believe it or not. He actually won. And so he was in a session, and they had an app, and we announced it on the app for the session. And during the break, he came up to the table, and he showed Maxine. He said, I need you to look at this. And so Maxine looked at it, and she said, oh my God, you were a winner. And so he was so blown away that he actually won something. He said, I've never won anything, ever. I've never won anything. And so I, again, speak life over things that you're trying to do. And you never know how it's going to turn out for you. But let me just add one more on top of that. So he actually brought his spouse with him to the conference. And he brought her up, and he introduced her to me, and we chatted. And we said, well, we're about to have the final drawing for, this evening. And he said, well, can I put another card in? And I was like, sure. So he actually put another card in, and we had gone through maybe 3 drawings. And of course, I'm not looking. I'm just, hand back behind me, and I'm picking. He won again. Believe that? This man said he has never won anything in his entire life, and he won twice. So that just tells me that, there is a higher power at work when you have faith. And so I tell that story because some of us don't have faith. We don't believe that we can, and we talk ourselves out of doing what we can accomplish, and we let other people talk us out of what we could possibly accomplish. So, you have to believe in yourself. Believe in yourself, and you can do whatever it is you so desire. But make sure that you put things into place and surround yourself with people who believe in your vision, who believe in you, who respect you and respect what you do. And once you have those things in place, then the rest is easy. So I know we're getting ready for Delphine Kelly to call in. So we are we going to take a little break, or we're just going to keep on rolling through? So we're going to take a little break, and at the 8:30 mark, a little after, we expect to have Delphine on. So you guys stay tuned. Stay tuned. Be right back. welcome back. This is Sylvia Johnson, eLife Media, and this evening I have a special guest that's calling in. I have Delphine Kelly. Delphine is the CEO and president of the Young Scholars Christian Academy. Delphine started her first school in 2005, and she's going to talk about, why she decided to even venture into the educational arena of starting a school and the importance of education and educating our children. So, Delphine, are you with me?
Yes, I am. Good evening, Sylvia. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for joining me this evening. I'm so excited about you and your school, and I want to give you an opportunity to tell our listeners on eLife Media and those who are watching on Facebook about the Young Scholars Christian Academy.
Thank you, Sylvia, for inviting me this evening, and it is a pleasure, and I'm excited as well to talk about Young Scholars Christian Academy. We weren't always called Young Scholars Christian Academy. We were called Jabaz Christian Academy. Mm-hmm. And the name Jabaz came from a prayer, the prayer of Jabaz. And it was about a little boy who mom had buried him in pain in the Bible. And after she had buried him in pain, so much pain, she decided to name this young boy Jabaz. But he prayed this prayer, the prayer of Jabaz, to God and asked God to take this pain away from him, but to enlarge his territory. And so that's the prayer that we pray every day at school, to ask God to not take the pain away, but to enlarge our territory. So that was the memento for having that name. But as time went on, because we have been around since 2005, mm-hmm. I decided that it was time for a change, because sometimes names can do a change to you, your establishment. Mm-hmm. And that's when I had talked with you and talked with some of my other sorority sisters as well, and to try to come up with a new name for this new beginning for our school. And I'm giving kudos to you, because you inspired me and had given me that name, Young Scholars Academy, and I decided to call it Young Scholars Christian Academy because our school is based on Christian values. Mm-hmm. And I thank you for that, because that means a lot to me. And that's our new name right now, and that's what we're using for our school name.
Congratulations.
So, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you, Sylvia.
Congratulations.
Yes. So, but we did begin in 2005. We were known as a small school with a big heart, because we take in families. We have taken in families who are children who are looking for a Christian education, who are looking for a small environment, because not all students can function in a large environment. They're looking for that small environment where they can get that one-on-one interaction mm-hmm. from teacher and students, whereas in a classroom today in public schools, you have 30 students, maybe 15 to 1, mm-hmm, 30 to mm-hmm. 1, and I've been in that setting where the student is not able to comprehend everything that the teacher is trying to teach them, and it's also hard for the teacher to reach out to the different students. Mm-hmm. So being in that environment, I decided that I wanted to start my own school. And so in 2005, it was a small school that started in my garage, but it was a home school, okay. And it was called Jabaz Learning Center. Mm-hmm. So we had started in the garage. We had set up the garage as a small learning center. We weren't the Christian Academy yet. And we started with 6 students, mm-hmm. and I homeschooled them by myself. It was just myself. Mm-hmm. And I homeschooled 6 students in my garage. Mm-hmm. And the parents eventually started word of mouth talking, and we eventually grew. Mm-hmm. And so we had grew to the size that we could no longer fit inside the garage. And within that year, we had 13 students. Mm. Eventually, it started to grow to 20 students, where that I could no longer just do it alone and had to start to hire a staff.
Yes.
And also look for more space for us to grow. So that's how it started to grow. And we decided to become, we couldn't stay a learning center and we couldn't stay a homeschool. We had to become a full-fledged school. And the school started from kindergarten to 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And we had looked for space so that we could continue to grow the school. And we had to change the name. So we went up under my church.
Uh-huh.
And my church at the time was Perfecting Saints. And we went up under my church.
Uh-huh.
And the church took over, recommended us so that we can become a full-fledged Christian school. Okay. So that's how we became Jabaz Christian Academy.
Gotcha.
And we had over 30 students. That's the largest we have ever been. And my goal was to not have a classroom with more than 10 students in it at a time, so that each student could still receive that one-on-one attention.
Gotcha. Wow. You know, I think back to when my son was small, and the first school that I put him in was something similar, I guess, a small school here in Bowie. I don't even want to mention the name of the school. But I just feel like the foundation that they were giving him, I was not satisfied with. I don't think that they took the time that was needed. The classroom size was large. I would say maybe 15 to 20 children. And this was when he was about 3 years old, perhaps. And I just didn't feel it was an environment where he was really thriving. And, you know, I just made a decision to take him out of that. And he actually went to, you know, we call them, you know, babysitters. But the person who was taking care of him was actually homeschooling him until he was ready to go to kindergarten. And when my son Reggie was actually with her, he was already reading, writing his name. They were actually using like these little kitty computers. It was funny.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you know, and it was just amazing. And he didn't sit around and play all day. He didn't sit around and do mindless activities all day. And for you to have the vision, you know, to start something from your garage, to grow into a learning center, that takes a lot of perseverance and dedication. And also as a woman-owned business, Delphine, which is what I'm dedicating this show to, because I think as women, we don't step out. You know, we always talk about the problem, but we never try to become a part of the solution.
Exactly. And that's so true, because there's so much going on in the world now, and these children, or as I call them, my babies,
yes.
Our babies are suffering so much because when they come to school, some of them are coming from one-parent households. Some of them are not eating until they get to school, so they may not have eaten at home in the morning. So we feed them breakfast, they get lunch, they get a snack. There's things that we tell them, you know, as teachers, we discuss, and we say when the students come into the school, they are our children now. They're no, yes. When them doors close and lock, we now become mommy and daddy. That's what it is now, and that's how we treat them, just like they're our own. And if you look at the time frame of when a child goes to school, they go into a classroom, sometimes 7 o'clock in the morning. They don't see their parents until 6 in the evening.
Right.
And I started to think, right after 6 p.m. in the evening, what time does a parent really have to spend with that child? Right. They bathe them, they feed them, they may help them with their homework, and they send them to bed. Then they're back to us, and we're not only educating them, but we're also raising them to become the young women and men that they are today. Right. And we have had students who have come through our doors who have graduated and are successful now based on just the foundation here at our school. We have one girl who is in college now, and who I still keep in touch with. She's at, I want to say Spelman, but I'm not quite sure if that's where she is. But she's in college now, and I still keep in contact with her. She was a 4.0 student at our school, and then she went to Suitland. She graduated from Suitland, and she's now in college. And a lot of students who I can boast and brag about because of that foundation, and their parents entrusted me because I had no idea exactly what homeschooling was all about. I had no idea what this was going to become. I was just going to just homeschool them, and it was a scary feel when you step out there, especially on your own. You know, like you said, being a woman, and you don't want to mess these children up. I knew I was their teacher because I had taught in the school system before, but to do this on your own, it was a lot, and a lot had to be put into it, a lot of thought and a lot of heart, and because it has to be something that you love to do. It's something that you want to do. It can't just be a haphazardly thing that you're going to do. You have to really have a love for this field because it's a lot. I take my hat off to all teachers and principals because it's a lot that you put in. Now, when at 5 o'clock or 3 o'clock, your day is not over because you still have to continually do some things for your class the next day. You still have to prepare your lessons for the next day. You may have to correct papers. You may have to wait for a parent to come. You may have to have a conference with them. Your day continually go on. And even when you go home sometimes I see myself, I have to separate myself from school and home because it can carry on into your home life. Sometimes on the weekends, the kids are asked, can you come to my football game? Can you come to my basketball game? And we'll come. We'll show up there just for the support. So it goes on past just the classroom. And it's not just me. It's other teachers out here who go far and beyond the call of duty for our children.
Absolutely. And it's amazing because we have a lot of friends, a lot of sorors, and friends who are in other sororities as well, who are educators. One of our Sands, Joya, was a teacher. She's still a teacher to me. I mean, she still is educating children, and it's funny when she talks about running across or running into children that she has taught, and they're adults now, and they still remember, being in her class, and and then we have other sorority sisters who, ask people to come in. I think Dawn always tries to recruit, some of the sorority sisters to come in and help her, set up her classroom, for the school year. And I think people just thrive. They love doing it. They love being a part of that, and they love contributing. And so, I just think in education is the foundation for everything, and Delphine, the fact that you was a visionary to do this, it speaks a lot about you, about your character. And, I endorse your school and I endorse you, and I'm not just doing that because we're, sorority sisters, friends. It's because I respect what you do, and I know you respect what you do and the young lives that you are impacting. So tell us something about, some of your students. Tell us about your students.
Okay, right now, since we have done this brand new turnaround with the school, because the school was going from the preschool to the 8th grade, we just started to revamp the school. So now the school goes from preschool to kindergarten, and each year we're going to add on a new grade with our new name, with our new building. We're going to just continue to add on a different grade, and this will, just build the school up and fresh and brand new. We just want everything just fresh and brand new.
Wonderful.
But right now we have the school is small. We have a total of 15 students total, and we have 3 teachers, 4 in our classes.
Mm-hmm.
The classes are split up with our preschoolers, and then we have our kindergarten teacher as well.
Nice.
We have we have our majority of students are male. We have majority of students are boys.
Really?
We have one female student in the entire school, and believe me, she can handle all of the males that's in the school.
Wow.
So, and my concern was, and I had told her mom, I said, she's going to be the only girl. And her mother said, trust me, she'll be okay. And she was right. She's okay. She handles them. That doesn't bother her. And school goes on. One thing about her, she knows what she's there for, and she's getting the job done. And because we're so small, we are able to give them that one-on-one attention. So when their focus do wander off, if they're looking over somewhere or they're starting to get ready to play, we can catch them right then. It's not in a big setting, so we don't have to. When you have a big setting, the teachers will have the students who are eager to learn up front.
Yes.
And that's how you would separate your room. They're ready to learn.
Yeah.
The middle ones are okay, and the ones in the back just want to play.
Right.
But since we are smaller, we have them basically in our face at all times.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have desks. We have a table. So we're sitting at the table with them, and we're face to face with them at all times.
Nice.
We can put our hands, we can touch you, say, hey, let's stop. We can touch you, say, turn the page. Our hands are right there near you. So that's easier for us to be able to have that contact with them, to have that one-on-one contact. And it also makes the students feel like somebody cares about me. Because when you're in that big setting and that teacher isn't paying you any mind and you can do what you want, it's sending a signal to them, nobody cares, just like at home, or nobody cares. So I can do what I want to do, and that's why I'm doing this here. But we also have firm discipline, not discipline with a belt and a ruler, but discipline as far as what we say and what we need. And we tell our students all the time, when do you listen? The first time. And so that's it. We're not going to repeat ourselves. So every time when we start saying, when do we listen? They repeat back after us, the first time. So this is constant, all the time, reiterating over and over in our students' heads, so they know, even not here at school, even when I get home, I listen the first time. And because we're Christian-based, we also teach Bible. So that's one of the studies that they have that our public schools do not offer. And a lot of people feel that the schools have deteriorated because they have taken prayer and Bible out of our schools. So now that's one thing, as a small Christian-based school, we can impart in them this Christian background. So as they go on, even if they leave us and go to public school, they'll always have that foundation of God within them, because that's what we instill in them. We do our morning prayers. We come back. We pray at breakfast. We pray at lunch. And we have our Bible classes as well. Right now, our preschoolers are learning the 10 Commandments. They get a commandment that goes home once a week that they have to memorize and come back and tell us exactly which commandment it is, recite it for us, and then we also go over what that commandment means. So these are some things that we are doing that are just amazing with our students at our Christian Academy.
Well, Delphine, you said something that I'm still in awe about. The fact that the majority of your students at your school are male children. And so I was expecting you to say you had one male child there and all girls. So
no.
I know as a mother of a male young man now, for me that would have been amazing. It would have been an amazing opportunity. So why the shift? Why the shift?
Now this I really don't know, because we had in the past it's either been equal or it's usually more females, but we have all male students. And a lot of people say, oh, goodness, this class is going to be crazy because
That's
you
what
have
you
all
would think,
these
right?
boys.
Yeah.
You have all these boys. But it's really not. The classes are pretty tame with the boys. And I think because they have a respect for authority, whether you're a male or a female,
Yes.
because they have that respect, we don't have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And because we tell them our number one rule is we listen the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and we cut it off right there. We don't have a
Mm-hmm.
conversation with them. We don't go back and forth.
Wow.
We stop it right there. We don't have any problems. But I'm not sure why we have all the male students, but I appreciate
I know
all
you
of
do.
the male students
Absolutely.
that we have. I
And
appreciate it.
Delphine, you've actually grown quite fast because you just moved to this location. Tell us where you are, and I mean, you've just moved.
Yeah, we're in Landover, Maryland now, 1863 Bright Street Road, and we're in Landover, Maryland. And we came from Camp Springs, so now we're in Landover,
Mm-hmm.
and we're still growing.
Yes.
And the more we grow, we're still looking for our own building. We're sharing the space now,
Mm-hmm.
but we are in Landover, Maryland now as we speak. But it's a nice place. But yes, we are looking to have our own school building
Mm-hmm.
with our name and logo on it as well too.
Right.
But that's where we are now.
Delphine, you guys have a website and a phone number in case we have people who have young children who are interested in having them enroll at your school or want to follow up and have a conversation with you about their young student?
Yes, I'm going to give you our phone number so that they can call us anytime. And they also can find us. We have a Facebook page,
Mm-hmm.
and it says Young Scholars Christian Academy. And we're also on Instagram as Young Scholars Christian Academy.
Okay.
And our phone number is 240-460-6856.
Can you say it one more time?
240-460-6856.
Okay, wonderful. So, Delphine, if we have parents or educators who are listening who would be interested in coming to your school just for a visit, when is your open house? I know school already started, but when is there going to be an open house?
We are planning an open house in November,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't quote me on this, but they can call to find out exactly. But I'm thinking it's the Wednesday or the Tuesday before Thanksgiving. That's the next open house.
Okay. And
I think that's the week of the 21st, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Is there a maximum number of students for your school? Because you may get bombarded. Because I'm telling you, I know a lot of people with boys, and they want their
I
sons
want
in
to
a
be
small.
bombarded.
Yeah,
we love it. We want to be bombarded.
Good. Right answer. Right answer.
We want to be bombarded, so that's no problem with us. We have come down. We have been as high up as 50 students, and we have been down as low as 6. So we know how to. We would love to be bombarded.
Wonderful.
Because whenever we can help someone or we can touch someone's heart, and also instill, because some students and some children are just missed. It's not that they don't get it or they're not getting it. It's just that they just don't have that person who is ready to instill some type of, show them some type of love and some type of concern for what they need and what they want. You know, a lot of people label these students and label these children and ADHD and label these students with all these different labels, and a lot of them don't have these man-made diseases that they're claiming they have. It's just that there's something that they're not getting from the system. The system is failing them. So sometimes their behavior shows you one thing when it's not even a behavioral issue. We've had students come in and the parents said they got put out of the school. This happened. Oh, goodness, I don't know what to do. And they come in, and I'm not telling you right off the back it was perfect, no. But as time went on, we saw 100% change. We've gotten a positive feedback from parents who said, if I didn't bring my son or my daughter here, I don't know what would have happened. And which makes me feel really good as an educator when people say things like that. It just makes my heart full because that wasn't my goal. Was to just find out exactly what's really the issue here.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a real issue here?
Mm-hmm.
So those are the things that we like. So if we're bombarded, we'll take them. We'll take them, and we'll get them to the next level.
That's right, because a lot of times our kids, as you mentioned, are labeled, especially our young boys. They're quick to want to medicate them. Those labels can stay with them throughout their entire educational experience. And the fact that your school has an understanding of that, the classes are small, there's individual attention, and you're not going to give up on these children. You're not going to give up on these children.
No, we don't, Sylvia. We don't. We don't give up on any of them. Anyone who's come through those doors can tell you we did not give up on them. We have not given up on them. And like I said before, we have students who have graduated from there, who are now in college. We had one student who went to cosmetology school, and now she owns her own eyelash business. We had a student who is now who attends. We have students who attend Wise. We have students who attend McNamara. Students who attend Suitland. I'm trying to think of some of the schools that they are going to. We have students who attend Murray Rikers, and that's in St. Mary's County.
Okay.
So, and that's a private school. So these are students who have left our school, graduated 8th grade, and have been accepted into high school of their choice with no problem.
Right.
So, I mean, this is a testimony for me because I know some of them, I know where they have all came from, what their backgrounds were, what were going on in their households at times when it looked bleak, when we didn't think it was going to be a high school time for this person because of what was going on, but they made it. So that's a testimony for me, just for our school.
Wonderful. Well, I mean, I think it's timely in the days that we're living in, where our children are under attack, especially our boys are under attack, and they need all the guidance and the nurturing and examples of upward mobility and education that they can possibly get. And it starts with a loving, trustworthy environment. It truly does. And so I just want to thank you for joining me for the last half hour of the show. Again, I am dedicating this particular show to woman-owned businesses and the fact that it's important that women, we step out, we claim our place in whatever industry or field that we desire to be in, and and when you're there and you have an opportunity, pull somebody else up. Don't be selfish.
That's right.
Don't be selfish. Don't be afraid. Pull somebody else up. Okay?
And I appreciate you. I really appreciate you from the bottom of my heart, because that's truly what you're doing. You're pulling women up, and the more you pull, the more you pull them up, the higher you'll go. So you continue doing what you're doing too. I truly appreciate you. I love you from the bottom of my heart. I truly do.
Thank you. Love you too. Have a blessed night, and thank you again for calling in. And give big hugs to your students for me.
I sure will. Thank you. You
All
have a good evening too.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye-bye.
So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. It's 1 minute before 9 or 9 o'clock. But again, I want to thank my team, the JI Solutions team, for all their hard work this past weekend in Orlando, Florida at the SOCRA conference. And I'm looking forward to connecting to all the folks that I met. I had several meetings at the end of each day, one-on-one meetings with people, and it was a phenomenal experience. And we're just going to keep doing what we do. And thank you to my teaming partner, the Biff Group out of Baltimore, Maryland. And thank you, Haki, for letting me sit in tonight. And you guys have a wonderful and blessed evening. Holla at the Success Scholar next week. Have a good night.